with us in the last part of the show. You'll be able to watch that video. If you missed it, it's on the Facebook page and you'll be able to watch that back. So just to wrap a few things up, Phrase, the Narberth Nobbler that we've actually been invited to do, haven't we? We didn't end up doing it last year, and this year it was cancelled.
Yeah, lucky we didn't. No, yeah. It shows the extremity of the weather on Saturday night. That's a company and an event that prides itself on going on through wind, rain, or shine. But obviously, the aspect of the darkness and in the woods, I think it just became too treacherous, and they've had to call it off. They'll rerun it another time, but unfortunately, Broadhaven didn't have the same idea and put us through 6 miles of wind and rain. But the Nobbler, for them to make that decision is significant, because like
10K, isn't it? Caniston Woods.
10K through Caniston Woods. That's right.
Yeah, in the dark. So. Yeah, brutal one, that, but it does sound quite good fun. But you're right, for that to be called off, the weather has to be pretty bad, doesn't it?
Yeah,
really.
Sure.
Yeah, indeed. Okay. In the local rugby at the weekend, Haverfordwest had a big win, Gord. They're 53-0 away to Llanybother. That was a decent result, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a good result for the Blues, but no disrespect to Llanybother. They are a weak link in that division, and Haverfordwest will be delighted that they ran in a few tries and put points on the board, giving them a morale boost before Boxing Day. I think they're playing Langham, so down in Langham it won't be easy.
Yeah, indeed. A win for Narberth as well. They beat Trebanus 36-13. Crimmick had a disappointing afternoon. They lost 77-5 away to Llangennec. St David's, as we mentioned, 60-14 win over Langham. Abercrave 28, Pembroke 7. And Neyland 36, Pembroke Dock 10 were the results from Saturday. Heading into the Christmas period, but I don't know whether I should say this now because I don't want to wind you guys up in the studio, but
you never do that, mate.
Already a few games being cancelled for the weekend.
Mutual agreement or whatever nonsense they want to call it. It's something that's been allowed to go on by the W for far too long. They're letting
Didn't happen in my day.
No, letting clubs score. letting clubs score off games. Letting clubs score off games because things aren't perfect. It's ridiculous. So you got players away, deal with it.
They're gone soft. They're going shopping with their missus. Enjoy.
Not
Game's
far
still
wrong.
on.
Yeah, mutual agreement. It does say, it's the weekend before Christmas or whatever, and we don't want to get a game on. That is a bit disappointing, isn't it? We are going to do a special show next Monday, and we will probably talk a bit about this. I think games being cancelled and the frustration that causes. So that's to come. That's our Christmas special show, which will be next Monday on Pure West Radio. Be able to watch the videos on the Facebook page as well. So let's finish off 7 minutes to 9. All over social media over the weekend, and there's been some real responses as well from football pundits in particular. I don't want to give too much to it really, but Joey Barton's tweets about female pundits in particular sparked some discussion. I thought we'd widen that out a bit actually and talk about some of our favourite pundits, because I've long had the view actually that whatever your sex is, whether you're male or female, there's good pundits, there's bad pundits, right? There's some of them are good, some of them are bad. Doesn't actually matter to me whether it's a man or a woman. I want good presenters, good pundits, and actually we've got a decent range. Phrase, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, look, this has caused huge debate, isn't it? Something we've been focusing on and work quite a bit as well. And I think the problem is that there's a sensible debate to be had within all of this. The problem is when you get an individual like Joey Barton voicing it, the language is deliberately inflammatory. He's putting himself out there, obviously, for another motivation. He's got a podcast coming out and he wants to publicize that, and any kind of sensible reasoned debate gets lost with all the nonsense that surrounds it. It is perfectly plausible to say pundits should be picked on merit, whether they're male or female, and if they're up for the job. That's a separate debate, and it's a point that can be made properly. I think there is an issue with fast-tracking pundits now, but I don't necessarily think that's just attributed to females, if I'm honest with you. I think we see that all over the board. I think you look at a lot of stations, a lot of channels now, and they seem to fast-track these ex-pros in the moment they retire just because of the sake of their names, and I don't think it's worked. I think the standard of punditry overall now, I think, is pretty poor. There's too many people searching for sound bites or clickbait, they call it, in terms of the computer version, and the standards lowered for sure. So, there's a reasoned debate to be had here, but it shouldn't just be attributed to women. And I'd say the same for rugby. I watched the Rugby World Cup. I saw the likes of Clive Woodward, yes, World Cup winning coach, Gareth Thomas, captain Wales to a Grand Slam. Awful pundits. It has to be said. I'm not going to shy away from that. Terrible pundits. You really offered nothing sitting in those studios. So, the debate needs to be had, but it needs to be widened. It just should women not be pundits? It should women be pundits or not? I think it's been wrongly portrayed.
Yeah, and actually, I think it's been good to see a different pundits coming on as well. I think that's quite good to see a range of people, so you don't just get the same ones. And we've had some brilliant ones on this show. Some really good female pundits come on. We obviously know Kerry Coleman Phillips, who's a great presenter. Joe Price has been on this show as well. I think there's some excellent female broadcasters like Kelly Summers. I think he does an excellent job as a BBC host, and she does podcasts as well. What do you think the standard of punditry generally, though, Gordon? I don't even necessarily think we should just focus on female pundits. What about it generally, Gordon? Who do you like hearing from?
I go to my generation. Rugby was always Bill McLaren.
Yeah,
I mean,
superb.
he was just a superb. Well, he wasn't. He was a commentator more than a pundit, but the way he put across, things that were happening in the game and relate to, their town where they were born and players. He was superb. He just had that manner of getting it across. He was a natural. That was the word. He was a natural. Jonathan Davis, I think he's done well. You don't see him so much now, but he did both codes as well. He did Union and League. It's only in the last decade or so that the women have started to come into punditry, really. And I don't have any provision about it. As long as they understand the game and put it across to the general public who are listening to it, it doesn't matter what they are at the end of the day.
I think Emma Hayes, I think, is a really good pundit and an excellent manager. I tell you what, I also liked when you get current managers become pundits as well. So Gary O'Neill, the Wolves manager, did a session on Sky on a Monday night, and Wolves weren't playing, but he and my mate's a Wolves fan, and I said to him, I said, Gary O'Neill was amazing. However, he has literally just talked through how he got a win at the weekend. If I was a Wolves fan, I'm not sure how I'd feel about that. But he did a really good job, and I think that's quite an interesting one as well, to have current people be pundits rather than this old and say jobs for the boys, and that's kind of. That has how it has been, and that's why it's so good. I think we've seen female pundits come through. I think more current people talking on the telly and the radio has got to be a good thing, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think you need a balance. You're right. You want a diverse range of pundits, but they need to be up for the job, whether they're female or male. I don't think they should be fast tracked through for any reasons, whether it is for just to be showing diversity or because they're a name who's perhaps done something previously. I think they've got to have applied their trade in their stripes before. They're certainly presenting what is prestigious jobs really on national television or radio. So you've just got to get the balance right, Ben. I believe that the people should be there on merit. Absolutely.
What do we think about referee pundits?
It's taken on an extra dynamic that this season, hasn't it, with the introduction of VAR, because they spend half their time explaining that. It's been good in a way in that you've got some clarification around it, but for football fans, the clarification's coming too late, isn't it? The decisions have been made, and you've got like Howard Webb now coming on Sky once a week admitting all the mistakes that have previously gone, but it's a little bit late for that. So it's I think it could be an interesting concept, but unfortunately it's one at the moment which is just dominated by this topic of VAR, isn't it? So I don't think it's quite worked yet, if I'm honest, this tendency to bring referees into the studio.
Yeah, it's funny how television has changed over the years, man. When I was a young lad, there was only a match of the day. You'd have a couple of games on. There wasn't any punditry whatsoever. There was no talk about tactics or whoever should be doing this and that. None of it. All you saw was the game and the commentator creating the atmosphere.
Alan Hansen broke the mould of pundits. Now, and Gordon will chuckle because he'll remember you won't win anything with kids line, which United obviously did. But he was the first for me who came and actually didn't just give an overview of goals that had gone in a major instant. He was the first who actually started analysing games and looking for things that the viewer couldn't necessarily see on the television or weren't that obvious to the naked eye. I thought he broke the mould, and I'll always have him down as perhaps the game changer.
I do think if they want to improve broadcasting on the telly, play the VAR audio. I'd love to hear that. I think it would. Don't you think it would sharpen up the VAR officials in that studio?
Well, we spoke about that earlier, didn't we? Rugby, they actually discuss the incident with each other, the referee and the VAR. But in football, we don't know what the VAR is saying. The referee's taking it over, and you
when
don't
we
know
do-
what he's being told.
But when we
It's
do hear
just
it,
the communication of it is absolutely shocking, to be honest with you. It is.
when we
Really
do hear it,
shocking.
it's so messy. Anyway, listen, we're going to have to go because I think we're well over, and KT is ready to go with the mood train. So he'll be shouting at us. We will see you for a Christmas special next Monday between 7 and 9. Have a great rest of your evening. Really enjoy Pure West Sport this evening. KT is next. Good night.